Hello everybody. I know it's been a while. I actually have two videos that I need to edit and get up. But I just wanted to do a quick one here. Yes, I got rid of the COVID hair. First of all, I want to thank Chris so much for sending me the link. Now I'm going to put the link down below. The German Commission The Germany Commission is starting to gear things up, but they are asking for anyone who is an abuse survivor to contact them, and they're going to be having an event online. And like I said, I will put the link down below to this. The online event will take place on September 29th, 2020 between 10 a.m. and noon. Affected can sign up for the online information event by email at events@commission.bun.de login. Like I said, I'll put the link down below. I had to translate this into English because it is in German. But they are getting ready to, get going on this. And in fact, it says commission launches priority child sex abuse among Jehovah's Witnesses. And it says the commission would like to show the extent, type, and consequences of sexual violence against children and young people in the past, initiate a broad public debate, and contribute to the recognition of those affected. To this end, confidential hearings are held with those affected and their written reports are evaluated. So this is a good thing because to get this horrific problem brought to the public's attention is so important. So thank you, Chris, for letting me know about this and for translating it into English for me. And something else that was interesting, it's about time. That's all I can say. It's about time. Now, Mike and I have often wondered this ourselves. How come when it's other religions, the media will just plaster the news with their horrific child abuse problem, but for some reason when it's Jehovah's Witnesses, you may hear it once, but then it's kind of like, yeah, oh well. Why can't the media cover it equally as they do these other religions? And we're not the only ones that notice this. So after all of these decades and decades, actually like probably 150 years of Watchtower bashing the Catholic Church, the Catholic Weekly has come out with an article. Love it. Love it. And I'm going to put the link down below. Coverage varies on abuse, but why? That's what we've been asking too. I'm just going to read this real quick. A number of years ago, Fairfax journalist Jonathan Holmes defended the sustained criticism on the church and other institutions that had perpetrated and covered up child sex abuse as reasonable and something that we should not characterize as a tax nor complain about as unjust. He had a point. Sometimes we deserve a whack in the media by journalists who are only doing their job. I know I have written this many times before, but Jesus told us that those who knew the Master's will and did not do it will be punished more severely than those who did not. Now I'm going to skip down here. They have a picture to the Australian Royal Commission. Well, I know this to be true, because it's talking about, if we believe that the church holds the fullness of the truth, and we do, then we also believe that we will be held to a higher standard by God. Why not by the media as well? And I wish the Jehovah's Witnesses Watchtower would take this to heart. This is the Catholic Church, the one they have been bashing for years and telling us to go to the door and say, oh, look at the, pedophile problem they have in the Catholic Church. We all did that at the door. Told everybody at the door about the pedophile problem in the Catholic Church. Look how evil the Catholic Church is. But tide's turning. And like we keep saying, when you point your finger at someone, You've got 3 pointing back at you. Going on with the article. While I know this to be true, a couple of recent stories about the Jehovah's Witnesses really brought to light just how unbalanced the media reporting is when it comes to the Catholic Church. And I agree with that. You know, you hear every little thing about the Catholic Church, especially anything negative. Just like here in New Mexico, because it's such a high Catholic Church population, we're always hearing something, you know, about this diocese or that, you know, priest or other. Because it is very unbalanced, if you ask me, because you never hear anything about the Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, once in a while. Vinnie Vincent just played one of the news clips we had from years ago of when Zolkin filed that lawsuit in Los Lunas. Back to the article. For those who don't remember, the Jehovah's Witnesses had the worst rates of child sex abuse and cover-up of any institution examined by the Royal Commission. This is the Catholic Church saying this about Watchtower and Jehovah's Witnesses. Karma. The Jehovah's Witnesses told the Royal Commission that they had 1,006 alleged perpetrators of child sex abuse between 1950 and 2016, relating to at least 1,800 alleged victims. And that's only the ones they know about. Half of the perpetrators had confessed to their crimes, but not a single one had been reported to the police by the time the Royal Commission began. Love it. While these are numerically lower than the 4,445 complaints of abuse made against 1,880 alleged perpetrators in Catholic institutions, you know, per capita though, 1,880 alleged perpetrators? That's not that much more, but the numbers get interesting here. 1,880 alleged perpetrators in Catholic institutions. The Catholic population in Australia is and always has been about 80 times greater than the population of Jehovah's Witnesses. So we're looking at per capita. Jehovah's Witnesses have the worst per capita. Despite this, the Jehovah's Witnesses receive scant attention from both the media and the Royal Commission itself. Isn't that the truth? The Royal Commission's wrap-up hearing for the Jehovah's Witnesses lasted just a few hours and got very little media coverage, while the equivalent wrap-up hearing for the Catholic Church spanned 3 weeks and was reported on widely and prominently. Why? Why don't they report the same, you know, especially when it's worse? It's worse per capita. In recent weeks, the same disinterest from the media has been evident in 2 abuse-related stories about the Jehovah's Witnesses, which, if they had occurred in the Catholic Church, would have been front-page news. Ain't that the truth? The first was a small story buried, to use a newspaper term, at the bottom of page 13 in the Sunday Telegraph last month. It has been alleged that since the Royal Commission was announced in 2012, the Jehovah's Witnesses has quietly restructured its legal status, sold off its assets, and moved the proceeds offshore. And isn't that what we've been saying? They're having a fire sale, going out of business sale if you must, you know, when you compare it to worldly terms, on their kingdom halls. And there's going to be more. There's going to be more. The Jehovah's Witnesses reported $150 million in income since 2014, and that it was operating at a surplus in 2015 to 2017. Then why aren't they joining the redress scheme? Oh, because they don't have the institutional settings. But during the past few years, more than $100 million of this has been sent offshore as aid and donations. See, the Catholic Church knows about these same documents that all of us have been talking about. It's not just us saying this now. The group is reporting has been operating at a loss over the last 2 years. Of course, because they're sending all of it out. Look at the video we did, a couple of weeks ago, showing the actual screenshots from the financial documents in Australia of how much they're taking in and how they're sending most of it out as overseas aid. The effect of this is that there's no money available in Australia to meet the estimated $132 million liability it will have to survivors of abuse under the National Redress Scheme. Only $132 million is all they need for the redress scheme. That's it. To a big corporation like Watchtower that takes in billions of dollars every year, that's not much. Hell, sell a couple of Kingdom Halls and you've got it. 1 week later, the Jehovah's Witnesses confirmed to Channel 10's The Project that it would not be joining the National Redress Scheme. In a statement to The Project, the Jehovah's Witnesses argued that they did not have to join the redress scheme designed for institutions because they do not have the same institutional settings as other faiths, such as the operation of orphanages or boarding schools, youth groups, or hospitals. In its story, the Project reporters did not seek an explanation as to why the Jehovah's Witnesses had such high rates of abuse, notwithstanding the lack of institutional care of children, nor did it raise any questions at all about the financial scandals that appeared in the paper just the week before. See, the Catholic Church, these journalists with the Catholic Weekly, they know about this. Dare I say that if it were any Catholic institution, we would have had rolling coverage, media camped outside St. Mary's Cathedral, and countless talkback hours dedicated to the evils of the Church, not to mention public threats made by politicians and motions condemning the Church and her leaders passed in every House of Parliament. But apart from a few small stories, the silence from all corners was deafening. Yeah, crickets. So I agree that it is totally unbalanced, the coverage, media coverage between the Catholic Church and Jehovah's Witnesses. So like I said, I'm going to put the link down below. And I just wanted to mention real quick, I was looking for something else and came across this. Doesn't that always happen? I don't know if you guys have ever seen Thy Word is Truth, announcing Jehovah's Kingdom. Some of these were put out by different branches of the Jehovah's Witnesses in other countries. This one is December 1st, 1943. And I just wanted to mention here real quick, on page 26, the privilege of sons. Men assume that because they are descended from a creature of God, the first man Adam, they are sons of God and may address him in petition as our Father. Yeah, we all assume that. Contrariwise, this very form of approach as introduced by Jesus shows who only may draw near to God and make known their request to him. Then it talks about the natural Jews. You know, Jesus was a natural Jew by birth, and so were, all these forefathers and the disciples. And then it says, they believed in God's word and especially his promises concerning the coming Messiah or Christ, the seed of Abraham. In expression of that belief, they followed Jesus. He knew that God's Spirit was to be poured out upon all consecrated flesh of this kind, and that these would be begotten of God's Spirit to become his spiritual children, spiritual Israelites, the children of the one whom Abraham typified, Jehovah. As such prospective children of God, Jesus taught them to express themselves to God as our Father. And it goes on to talk about that only the 144,000, the Israel of God, are to say, our Father. They're the sons of God. Not the rest of us, just them. So, oh, here in paragraph 38, towards the bottom. This exclusive privilege of these spiritual sons of God continued down to the setting up of the heavenly government of the New World in AD 1914 and the coming of its king to the temple thereafter in 1918. So there's a little different spin on, beliefs back then. Since then, God's favor has been going out to those who were foreshadowed by the strangers that lined themselves up with God's chosen people of old, clearing up of the privileges of these present-day companions of the remnant of God's holy nation. So we're strangers, because we align ourselves, or, help the anointed. But it's only the anointed, according to their beliefs back then, that can rightly say, Our Father, who art in heaven. The rest of us don't have that privilege. So anyway, I thought this was interesting. And you all have a wonderful week. Bye.